We are live. Hey, how about you, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Live call-in show. I am your host, Jeffrey Lee, Senior Recruiting Editor for Auburn Live on 3. Dadgummit. Today is Sunday, July the 6th, 2025. We have a fantastic show for you. I think we always have some fantastic calls. We'll have to depend on them to pull through with some fantastic news. We're going to get to some phone calls tonight. We'll talk a little Auburn football, recruiting, basketball if you want to, whatever you want to talk about. We're going to talk about a lot of things, whether you like it or not. Here with me, as they always are, Mr. Cole Pinkston, Sir Alan Head. How about you, fellas?
How about you?
Yeah, how about you? You know, we're going to have to consider a name change.
We are.
Yeah, we are.
We're going to, if you haven't heard, if you're a member of Auburn Live on 3, we have merged with auburnsports.com, the OG Rivals site over at Auburn. We're going to be transitioning. There you go. Alpha brain kicking in, big dog. Transitioning to auburnsports.com. I think we're going to make it official sometime this week. Auburn Live will no longer be. So we'll have to think of and I don't want to do it to JG and B Matt and Caleb. You know, this is not the auburnsports.com call-in show. So maybe we need to come up with a more personalized name for the show. Maybe we'll take some suggestions from the callers. What can we call this show moving forward?
Yeah, we Auburn Live. I started with Auburn Live, so hate to see that go. But
yeah,
glad. But I'm loving the merger so far, Jeffrey.
Yeah, me too.
I'm really loving it. It's was I hesitant about it at first? Sure, I'll be honest.
No, we all were.
But hey, I think people are loving it. We still keep the corner of the corner. We keep the bunker of the bunker. That was the biggest thing I think people wanted.
Yeah,
from what I could tell from the message board. So I love the way it's going. A lot of content rolling out, dude.
Fantastic content. JG Tate, Brian Matthews, Caleb Jones, all coming from auburnsports.com to auburnsports.com on 3. But we're going to talk to the Commodore himself, JG Tate, at the bottom half of this hour. We're going to get him on the show and introduce all y'all. Many of you are already familiar with him, man. Another thing about the mergers, man, they do some great shows. They've got fantastic shows. We're all going to be joining forces. We'll keep our shows. I mean, I don't see the call-in show changing. I don't see the recruiting show changes unless we bring in Caleb at some point. But, that's something we'll get to later on down the line. For now, though, we will be changing the banner. Will be one branded site, super site. It's a super site, man. We've got six reporters on site. I think we've nearly 100 years of experience covering Auburn football. So we're fired up. Got a super site going over at auburnsports.com. Go check us out, man. I feel like maybe by the end of the week or so, we need to come out with a promo, man. Have a little promo.
We're getting
Something for sure.
We're getting some suggestions in the comments right now.
Oh, I was thinking like our JACZ, Jeffrey Allen, Cole, and Jax.
Okay.
That's what I do, man.
I said the Kevin from Wilmer show.
Oh, Jesus.
It wouldn't be a show without Kevin from Wilmer.
No, it would
Tigers
not.
Den. You got the Shriveled Pod Live.
I think we had to back away from the Shrivel Pod for whatever
I don't know if it was that or I might have to look into that. But the whole thing about the Shriveled Pod with Keith and me was it was supposed to be like it was supposed to be, shortened.
I thought it was inside the 20. I thought that was inside the 20.
That's where inside the 20 came from because we changed it from the Shriveled Pod. I thought the Shriveled Pod was genius, to be honest with you. One of the smartest things they'll come up with. So we'll take some suggestions, man, and we'll keep it Auburn Live. I think this might be. I mean, we can use it next week if we're not ready. But I feel like we need a farewell show.
I agree.
I mean, again, people, if you're listening and watching, this show's not going anywhere. We're just going to change the name to it because Auburn Live on 3 is going to be a thing of the past. We don't want to be auburnsports.com because that's not who we are. That's JG and B Matt and Caleb. Now we are now, but I just
No, I'm with you. We'll think of a name. We will think of a name for this show, but I would love to. I know we've talked about it for the better part of a year for us to do one live show with all the fans that tune into this, because I honestly believe this. I believe that this show revolutionized the site and brought in more people just because of the interaction that happened here and the interaction with our callers and the people that participate within the chat. You guys are what have made this site. You're what have, what drives this show. And so I really hope we got some great calls tonight, but I would love to do a live show, even invite Jay and Brian and Justin and others to be a part of this that have built Auburn Live into what it is right now. I mean, it's a fantastic site. For those that haven't been paying attention to the content, it's been insane as of late. As somebody who's a consumer of content himself, I mean, it's just new story day after day after day, and different viewpoints now because you have different staff members.
Mm-hmm. Very good and different. Each brings a different dynamic to the staff. I mean, JG's fantastic with his editorials. B-Matt's a fantastic reporter. Caleb's really good at what he does. Cole's with the breakdowns. I try to keep up with Christian and them and with some scoop. We've got a little bit of Justin's fantastic. He's so good with the basketball and the insider stuff on that side. I don't think there's anybody in the business even close to doing what he does. He's fantastic when it comes to basketball. Fantastic. Yeah. And hell, him and JG, I don't know if y'all saw the show. I don't know which. We got to figure out what YouTube channel. Like, they've got a fantastic auburnsports.com YouTube channel. I don't know. Did JG and Justin do it? I think they did it on the noon show, didn't they?
They did it on the noon show, yes.
But anyways, the show I'm talking about, y'all should go back and watch it if you haven't. But both of them are breaking down the NIL, how it's affecting Auburn and Auburn's, Auburn's way about going about it, which is failing miserably. I mean, it is. It's miserably. I mean, Auburn is like 70-something in recruiting rankings. They're doing it the right way. No,
sure.
The right way is not the right way.
I thought we might talk about that tonight. I thought that might come up.
Well, and I think it should. And I want to get y'all's opinion on it, because I did walk away listening to Jay and Justin. And some of this I already had on background with which they talked about. And so I understand. I get John Cohen's viewpoint. And without a doubt, John Cohen and the team that he has assembled there that do nothing but look at rev share are significantly brighter than me. My argument to that is,
maybe.
My argument, I think they are.
We'll see. Only time will tell.
Yeah. It looks like Auburn, Missouri, and South Carolina are the only teams that are playing by that same set of rules, right? So either Auburn is going to be insanely right, or they're going to have to change strategy pretty quick, right?
And for those who are kind of out of this, right now, Auburn can't get a commitment from anybody, really anybody. I mean, when was Kentrell White was this past week?
Yeah.
But they're not beating Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Tennessee, anybody like that for recruits right now. And Alabama's just loading up. I mean, I've lost. I think you can't count the number of 5-stars they have committed on one hand. They are just loading up. So what John Cohen and Hugh Freeze both said this past week at Lake Martin at the Auburn Ambush was that they're not real sure how it works, right? They can't get it's their understanding. Help me out here, Alan. It's their understanding that August the 1st is a big target date for them. Nothing can be in writing until then.
That's correct. So nothing can be in writing until August 1st, and that pertains to NIL deals, right? That's not necessarily rev share. I don't think rev share agreements can necessarily be signed until the member steps foot on campus, but everything can be put in writing come August 1st. And I think where Auburn is at is they're being very cautious about how they play this and not trying to overpromise and underdeliver. They want to make sure that they are on target and within the scope of what they can actually do. And I think the feeling is, and I don't believe they think this is everybody, but I do think that the overwhelming feeling from Auburn's side is there's some deals that have been promised that will not live up to when you put pen to paper. I think some of that may be accurate. Some.
I do too.
But is it going to be the overwhelming majority where it's going to change the dynamic of the recruiting landscape right now? I heard Josh Tate today give his kind of synopsis on recruiting, and he made the statement that he thought recruiting was back, that relationships matter again. And not that I want to take issue with Josh Pate, but as somebody who talks to people that are boots on the ground in Auburn, and maybe this is just my sourcing, it is more transactional than it has ever been.
Absolutely.
And
if that were the case, Auburn would be loading up right now.
Right. I thought that was kind of a skewed viewpoint from who he's talking to. So I say all that to say that, again, either Auburn is insanely right and they are going to come out of this looking just like $1 million, right? Or they're very wrong and they better pivot very quickly and in a very calculated manner. And maybe this was how they were going to play it all the way around, because realistically, it is layered with Auburn. There does have to be proof of concept on the field. Without that, sure, I don't think it matters what you're offering right now, right? I think without that, there is no future for Hugh Freeze here on the Plains. And if there's no future for Hugh Freeze, are people really committing to this program?
Let me ask y'all this. On the top 10 remark, I don't know exactly what the question was, but it was in the realm of, do you think a top 10 finish is still possible? And Freeze responded, he said, we're not in that realm right now, but in December, I do. I believe that wholeheartedly. I mean, was that pretty bold? It felt super bold to me.
Extremely bold, in my opinion. Now, if you look at what Florida did last year, I see kind of the angle, right? I see the blueprint for how that can happen.
Right.
That said, multiple things have to happen for that to take place. And I'm not sure that Auburn gets there. I'm not sure that they're not too far behind at this point. But again, there is a test case for it. I'm not going to say it can't happen, but no, I thought that was definitely bold by Hugh to say top 10 is, he can see that without question.
Well, he believes it. Why do y'all think he believes that so strongly? Wholeheartedly is the quote.
I thought it was bluster, honestly.
I think he has to say that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he said things he probably shouldn't have said before.
Yes. But that doesn't mean he doesn't believe it. So
the thing about the top 10 remark is that the rankings are to get a top 10 class, like Alan said, a lot of things have to happen. No more important than having enough commitments to get in the score to have a top 10 class. Like, I don't know. I can't remember. Alan, do you know maybe Cole knows off the top of your head, on 3 Rivals, either one of those two, do they take the top 20 commitments?
So I don't think On 3 does. I know Rivals does, but I'm not sure how it's all going to work. It's, that like meme of John C. Reilly with the algorithm like flying at him or whatever it is. That's all over the place. That's me. I'm trying to digest what it's going to be when Rivals and On 3 kind of lay out. Because are they going to continue to have individual rankings, or is it going to be consolidated into one? I know I'm putting you guys on the spot.
It's going to be consolidated.
Okay.
It is.
It's going to be the Rivals.
I know the rating scale is still going to be, it's not going to be the 6 point whatever that Rivals was doing. It's going to be the 70 to 100 scale.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if that number, because you can have a 4-star who is an 89, and then you can have a 4-star that's a 96.
Correct.
I think that number might play into the ranking, if I'm not mistaken.
Either way, my point was this: is Auburn going to have a big enough class, even if they were to win 9 or 10 games? Are they going to take enough kids in this class, at least right now? Because the number of slots at each position just continues to dwindle. I mean, I remember 2 months ago we were talking about Auburn taking 3 or 4 of these edge guys that they were having on campus, and we're looking in a really good spot for. Now we're looking at maybe holding on to Hezekiah Harris and adding one more,
and that's a maybe.
And then your wide receivers, you went from all these 5-star guys visiting Tristan Keys, all these cats at Darian Morgan, and now you're looking at taking Jace Matthews and maybe one more. I mean, if you can take Jace Matthews. So my concern is Auburn going to have enough guys to even be in the conversation for a top 10 class, even if all the other things happen. And that's, winning football games, number one. And then number two is flipping enough guys who have a high enough score, and then having enough of those guys that you flip to have the high enough score to be in the top 10. So a lot of things, man, got to happen for Auburn to be in the top 10. None more so important than having enough guys to even make the score.
Yeah, that's a big deal. And I think they're having to temper their expectations to where they started with this cycle. And I mean, that could change, though, man. It really could. The way this is going, if they are right about this August 1st thing, their number could flip again if they get what they're wanting, supposedly. It's confusing to me, man. That was a bold statement. The August 1 thing. Super bold.
Very bold. Okay, so Auburn was top 10 class in the 2024 rankings, and they only signed 20 kids.
Okay.
So I think 20 is still doable.
I do too.
Especially if they get to 10 before you get down the stretch, right? Like if you get to 10, which I think, again, somebody asked me today on the board, are they going to get to 12? I said, maybe on a push. You're not going to exceed 12. My estimation is closer to 10 right now.
What are they at right now? 7?
They're at 7, and I think they're going to get some good news on Tuesday, which would put them at 8. I'm going to give them to get to 10 before September 1st. I think that's probably where I'm at with it.
I think that's fair. I think 10 to 12. I think that's fair. I don't think we're going to see these flips. Auburn become really a big factor for any of these guys who've already committed until probably October.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. And I'm actually going to put out a realistic flip watch list of the guys I think that Auburn can flip and has legitimate interest in. But I will tell you this, there's only about 4 or 5 of them that are blue chips. The others are 3-stars. There are guys like Deshaun Spencer that are committed to Duke, who, by the way, I'm with Cole on this. Deshaun Spencer is a playmaker. I absolutely love that kid's film. I think he makes a lot of sense in a wide receiver room for Auburn that's extremely top heavy right now.
Braylon Outlaw.
Yeah, guys like that. Caleb Morris, legitimate flip target, right? But 3-star. So where you have to get lucky is, and if you remember this from Auburn's first class, you have to have some guys that exceed expectation, and then they get that star bump at the end of the year. Malcolm Simmons was not where he ended up being in the rankings. There were other players in that class that ended up having a really good senior season. So Auburn's going to have to eval well, and then they're going to have to flip some studs down the stretch. I mean, there's without a doubt you're going to have to get at least 1 5-star to get inside the top 10 and multiple 4-stars.
High-end 4-stars. There just so much to unpack over and let's don't forget now, Auburn just did add a former consensus 5-star player, number 1 safety in the country in the 2022 class in Jacoby Matthews.
Yeah.
Just added him from A&M. Spent the first 2 years at A&M. I thought he had some really good stuff. He actually joined Justin's show earlier this week as well. So that was a big get.
He was great too. He seems to be pretty grateful for the opportunity. Obviously, he missed a year of football, so coming back from that is going to be interesting. But dude was graded really high as a coverage player at Texas A&M by PFF, and he's got the athleticism to do that and play in the box. I think Auburn's safety room gets a nice little boost with a guy like that. And it was a room that I was thinking was a little bit lower as far as the team goes. I had him at 9 when I did my position unit ranking, just because I don't know who's going to be the starter across from Caleb Harris. But I think this gives you a lot. He's played a lot of SEC football too, so that's huge.
We're going to get to the first call here soon. We're going to have JG Tate from auburnsports.com join the show. Talk about the merger we've got going on with auburnsports.com. I guess the Auburn. We're going to have to figure out how to make my hat work. I can't lose my hat. We're going to have to figure out the branding and stuff and how we're going to do this show. I'd like to get a little call-in show. Call-in show. What do you call it? Riz? No, what do you call it? Drip.
A little college show drip.
And I got a lot of Auburn Live branded stuff.
Are we going to do a question of the night?
You got one?
Yeah. But not all right. I'm going to do football related tonight, and then we'll
Okay.
get to actual personal question.
Okay.
Okay.
So I want to know, what are the games that Auburn has to win this year for people to believe this season is a success? Is it a number? Is it an opponent? What is it? What do Auburn fans want to see have happen this year for it to be a success? And guys, stay with me. Stay with me on planet Earth. Don't tell me it has to be playoffs or bust. Okay. Give me something. If 9-10, I hear you on that, but don't tell me playoff or bust. Okay.
Now you're talking about just a successful season. I mean, how do you?
Yes.
You'll be happy at the
Exactly.
end. At the Iron Bowl has concluded. You're happy if what? If Auburn is what?
Correct. Again,
no bowl games.
Yeah. Is it your total number of wins? Is it who you beat? Is it how you beat them? What is it? What is it that makes a successful season?
What is it for you?
It's 8 wins,
Me too.
with one of them being against Oklahoma, A&M, Georgia, or Alabama. It's got to be one of those 4 they have to beat for a signature victory. Now, I almost say it has to be one of Alabama or Georgia, but I'm going to spread it. I'm going to play it. I'm going to hedge my bet a little bit. I'm going to say it's got to be one of those 4. Those are big brands. You beat Oklahoma and Oklahoma, that's the state.
I want 2 of those 4.
Okay.
And I want one of Georgia and Alabama. If Auburn gets swept by those 2 again at home, it's leaving a bad taste in my mouth.
Dude, I hear you. And I'm almost there with you on that one, because it would be tough in year 3 for Hugh Freeze not to get one of those and for people to have a lot of confidence about his ability to get it in the future.
I'd actually be okay with road losses at Oklahoma, at A&M, if you can get me one of Georgia, one or both of Georgia and Alabama.
Okay.
I'd be okay with 8-4 and a loss to Georgia and a win over Alabama and a loss to like a Missouri, Oklahoma, and A&M.
Cole, what is it for you?
I'm at 8, but I'm almost thinking 9.
Ooh.
I think 8 almost has to be the floor.
Me too. That's exactly how I see it, Cole.
Nothing
less than 8.
You can't go below 8.
When you
not with this roster. The problem with that is exactly what Freeze has been saying all these years. Give me the roster. Let me get my roster the way I need it, and then we're going to be fine. And I backed that up. I thought that was fine. I agreed with it for the most part. But hey, I've got to see better football to go along with your better roster. You put those 2 things together, I don't see a way that Auburn does not win 8 or 9 games.
To your point, Auburn has invested heavily in this football program the last 2 years from a personnel standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think to continue to have the financial support that you need, what you're talking about, Cole and Jeffrey, absolutely has to have happen. You think about what it means, not just to this fan base, but to the alumni, to the boosters that fund this program, to get one of Alabama or Georgia. And then you turn around and you also go into an A&M or a Texas A&M and you get a signature win on the road in addition to, and you're at 8 or you're at 9+ wins. That changes. Look at that. Look at that.
Whoa.
We interrupted his soccer matches.
Well, I mean,
is it a soccer game or soccer match?
We'll take either one.
Either?
In Mexico, though. I mean, I hate Mexico.
Who's we? Got a rat in your
United
pocket?
States of America.
Oh, is it like the Olympics?
It's the Gold Cup.
Is that good?
Yeah, man. It's our like geographic zone.
Yeah.
Is it a tournament?
Yeah. This is the final.
Gulf of America. Yeah.
What do you win?
Gold Cup. It's great to drink beer out of.
It's a big deal.
Whatever.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
How often do they have this tournament?
Just whenever.
Maybe just whenever.
Just whenever it's convenient.
For those who are wondering, man, this is JG Tate.
Hi.
The new Commodore of Auburn Sports of the old Auburn of the new AuburnSports.com.
It's all the same. Yeah, you and I wrote today about how that's going to be what's the word? Transitioned. I don't know that word. That's not the greatest word ever, but
yeah, that one didn't feel great.
Yeah,
I know.
But we're gonna morph into AuburnSports.com, and that's what we'll do. It's gonna be awesome. We've got a 6-man team. Everybody kicks ass. Everybody, like you said earlier, Jay Lee. Everybody's got their own little thing that they're really, really good at it. And I cannot. It's going to be amazing being on a winning team for a change. I mean, not that me and BMAT and Caleb, I'm talking about rivals, was kind of
Sure.
a hoopy. And on 3 is the Porsche. So stoked to be over here working with you guys.
There you go. Charlie Sheen level winning. I like it.
Winner.
JG, our question for the night. Let's get your take on this, man.
Yeah.
What is it going to take after the Iron Bowl is finished in November? The next day, Auburn sitting at what for you to view this as a successful season?
Successful season, 9 wins.
No.
8 wins is he can keep his job at 8 wins. 7 wins or less, a cataclysmic failure.
Wow.
It's time, bro. It's Auburn. The time for excuses is over. Win the games. You've got players. He's got a budget. He's had a budget. Get it done. My concern about Hugh Freeze is that he can't manage games well enough, and he can't win games. He can't score enough points, and that's my issue with him. So prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, and prove yourself right for the money that you've got and the clout you've got.
This roster is too pretty on paper not to win at least 8. I mean, that's like Cole was saying, that's the floor. That's the worst case scenario.
And that's the whole thing he's been harping on the whole time. And now, you know, we're finally to a place where you can look at the roster and say, yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
you can win with that.
But I was talking to Courtney in the pool earlier. It's so weird.
Alan Green over here.
Yeah. Well, she is my wife, to be fair. You have so much riding on Jackson Arnold, and to me, that is such a wild card. I don't know that he's that good. Maybe Hugh's going to be the quarterback whisperer and get this kid in gear and make him get to the point where he was supposed to be all along. I think there was a lot going on at Oklahoma that we don't know about that was working against him. So I want to give him a lot of space, but man, there's a lot of pressure on that kid, a lot.
Let me ask you all a question. If the season is different last year, if Hugh gets to that 7-5 mark, obviously the feeling moving into this year is much different, but is the expectation of win total the same? Is it still 9 wins and it's a successful season, or do you feel like 8 and it's successful, he's continuing to build? Do you think it's him stubbing his toe last year?
I think that's part of it, but it's Auburn, man. Like, it's okay to be down every now and then, but Auburn's been down way too long now. And I know Hartson is responsible for a lot of this, but dude, like you were saying, J-Head, last year, I don't know, man. I think some coaching was the problem there.
Significant
view on it.
Significant problem. See, this is the first time Jay and I have done the brain drain many a time, but never looked at each other while we were doing it. This is the first
really?
right now.
Hey, Alan Head, how you doing, buddy?
I feel like I owe somebody a super chat.
Hey, now.
Better watch your tone.
Chicky tone. Get your outside voice.
I saw somebody in the chat is hashtag Cool Breeze.
Uh-oh.
Hey, Cool Breeze.
Uh-oh.
JG, does Auburn have to beat Georgia and or Alabama for this to be a successful season?
I think so. One of them, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I don't think we can get to 9 without a win in one. I mean, you could mathematically, but I feel like to get to 9 wins, you're going to have to beat one of those teams, I think, because they're going to stub their toe somewhere. You know that.
Yeah, that's why I said Missouri earlier. Would y'all be content? Would it be a successful season if Auburn goes 9-3, loses to Georgia, Alabama, and Missouri?
I think it's passable.
Content. I mean, content. Probably not. Successful season, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, from where Auburn's been, it shouldn't be like that, but it is what it is.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm waffling on that now because, again, Jay Lee, you had a beautiful point in the fact that this is year 3, and how much confidence that you have that the teams that Auburn measures itself against, right? Georgia and Alabama. Everybody else, it doesn't really matter, right? But they judge it. Auburn fans, Auburn alumni, Auburn boosters, they judge themselves on what happens in those games. And to not come away with one of those in year 3, how much confidence do you have in Hugh Freeze moving forward that he's going to be able to get that game? Or is it going to feel like Gus, where it's just like out of reach at this point?
Yeah. I had an analogy, but I think it's inappropriate, so I'm not going to say it. But I don't know.
Hey, we can move to the call-in show after dark right now. Go ahead.
I know, like in the regular Auburn world, you're expecting to beat Georgia half the time. Alabama, hopefully a little bit more than half. And we're on this run right now where you can't even piss a drop, right? I mean,
yep.
God bless. So I don't want to push too hard here and say, you got to beat Georgia or Alabama. It's weird to think that we're asking a lot to beat Georgia every now and then, but that's where we are. I would just take the 9 wins and let's move on. I think Cole had it right. Just, you're not satisfied, but
yeah, right.
It's progress.
You're Jay Jacobs. You're good, but you're not satisfied.
Brother, no, man. You want better. You guys remember that, Jay Lee? You
Yeah.
probably don't. The softball thing with Jay Jacobs?
No, what did he say? You're not
It was
good,
when
but are
Clint
you?
got in trouble and he was doing all his, BS talk, and he said, "I know you're not satisfied, JG, but aren't you good?"
Yeah, there you go.
The answers that he gave me, and I'm like, I'm neither, Jay. Jay's all right, man.
Where is Jay?
He's in Auburn again. I saw him on a competing network show.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him and Philip Marshall, for sure.
No kidding.
Oh, I wonder why you missed it, Jay Lee. I love Philip, but man, that sounds pretty dry to me. I don't know.
9-3 beat Georgia and/or Alabama.
That would be awesome. I think that's a good season.
Do you think that's plausible?
Yeah. If Jackson Arnold is indeed the Incredible Hulk,
there you go.
Who thinks he is, it shouldn't be a big deal at all.
Is that what it comes down to?
I think so.
Me too.
I trust DJ Durkin. I trust that roster. We're right back where we were with Kevin Steele, and everything's layered nicely, and he's got some really good guys in the first spots, and I trust DJ Durkin. But then you're on offense, and you're like, who do I trust? Do I trust Derek Nix? I don't know Derek Nix. I don't know what he's actually doing. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
Is he the biggest reason why they're having trouble, or is he actually the good guy and Hugh's the one screwing stuff up? We never know.
Yeah,
I don't trust Hugh to be a good offensive play caller or organizer. I don't. I'm not hating on the guy. I'm just telling you.
That doesn't mean he can't be. It just means
that's right.
You don't trust.
That's
him.
right.
And I don't either. I'm in that camp.
Maybe Peyton is the reason they had problems last year. I don't know.
You hope he is, right?
He wanted to put it on Peyton. J-Head, you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to hold my tongue on that.
Okay.
He wanted to, and then he wanted to, and then he didn't.
Yep.
He wanted to, and then he didn't. He wanted to, and then he didn't. It happened a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That was my thing with Hugh Freeze, is especially when it came to recruiting. I was like, man, you can complain about his play calling, his personnel decisions, sticking with Peyton Thorne the second year, game management. One thing he's done right is recruiting, and now that's in the tank. And I think that's why you've got so much frustration in this fan base right now. Like the one thing they had going for them is
I think this is going to end up working out okay. I think their little plan to wait and stuff, it's a little weird, but it's on brand for Hugh and Cohen for reasons that we talked about on Justin's show the other day, Jeffrey. I know you mentioned that, but I don't want to go back down that road, but I think it's going to work out okay. The top 10 class is, to me, that's pushing it because you're going to have to flip probably 10 guys. I mean, it's doable, but it's a lot of work, man.
Well, then we're not just talking about 10 guys. You're talking about at what you're looking at for the rest of this class right now. You've got several projects in there. So either those guys are going to have to be hell of an evaluation and their star ranking is going to have to go up, or you're going to have to land 10 blue chips with one of those being a 5-star. And that's easier said than done.
Maybe they just feel like if they can get these, like, let's say 5 major recruits, whether they're 5 stars or high 4s, whatever, maybe there's 5 guys that they're like, these 5 guys are crucial to us, and we'll fill in projects around them, and then we'll go portal crazy, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe that's the plan.
I think
if Auburn's able to win enough to get the excitement back into the program the way that it was when it flipped Perry Thompson, when it flipped Cam Coleman at the end, is that excitement enough to push to a top 10 class, or are we talking, this is too much going on? Even if excitement hit like that, it just wouldn't be enough to get to a top 10.
I think it comes down to numbers at that point, right?
Well,
I mean, because if top 10, we're putting top 10 because, like I said, so much goes into that. Like,
so let's say they get 18 pound for pound. Do we think this class could match up with? Do we think it could get to that point, or is it too far gone at this point in the year? I don't
like to catch Georgia or something like that.
No. I mean, to catch the classes you've had so far at all.
Okay. So
is it too late to do what B. Matt said and pull a Florida?
Here's the thing, and this is where it becomes difficult for me, is the move in the National Signing Day to being the Wednesday after the season is over. So as important as this season is for Hugh Freeze and his longevity here at Auburn, and all the energy that you're going to be pouring into that. Now, they have a massive recruiting staff that can take care of a lot of this for them, but you also have to double down and now recruit in the middle of the year to get that talent back in the class. So what Jay talked about to me is much more platable in that who are the 5 or 6 guys that you really need, and you hone in those 5 or 6 You land those, and then you augment what you don't land in the high school class in the transfer portal, and you call this a one-off year. And you go out and you get what you need from the transfer portal, and now you've set yourself up for the following cycle, and you'll compensate yourself for your needs in the following class. But I just don't see Auburn taking a massive number or getting 10 flips down the stretch of guys. It is going to take a lot of effort, a lot of money to invest in, and a lot of cultivating relationships behind the scenes. So it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot for them to break into the top 10. I think what Jay talked about is probably the route where my mind, I can wrap that around. That's doable. That's successful. They can get that done. But pulling a Florida, it's really difficult. It's really difficult to do, especially with as much as you're going to have to balance in season, because, again, we've talked about how this staff may have issues on the offensive coaching side of the ball. If I'm an Auburn fan right now, I want Hugh Freeze dialed in, man. I don't want him being distracted by anything else. I want to make sure, because he's the only successful play caller you've got on the offensive side of the ball. No offense to Ken Austin. I think he's a fantastic quarterback coach. I think he's somebody that's had a lot of success. Offensive play caller, I wouldn't call him a genius. Derek Nix, second year ever calling plays, if he's calling plays.
Right, calling plays.
Yes, in air quotes, right? And I'm not trying to be derogatory about Derek.
No. You're not.
But history is what history is. And I think Hugh's the only successful play caller you've got. He's the guy that's had success in this league before. And if I'm hitching my wagon to somebody, it's going to have to be him. And I want him dialed in. And we're not suffering from what I would call the Hugh Freeze experience sometimes, right? Where you have really up games like Alabama, and then you have games where you drop one against Memphis. Can't afford to have that this year. Just can't.
We don't know how much of the offense is Freeze's or Nix's. What we do know is when we watch the game, Hugh Freeze is holding a play sheet, and he's got his microphone right here, and he's pretty much, it looks like he's calling the plays. And then I'm pretty sure he's calling the plays. We'll put it that way.
Okay. No, I mean, I don't know. I'm with Cole. I'm not sure. It looks like he's calling the plays, but then when you ask him, you get weird answers. Not you, but everybody, right? You know. I do want to say this. We talk about how, okay, let's say this team gets really hot and they win a lot of games, say 8, 9, 10 wins.
Yep.
And Jay Lee, we got to go back to when you and I were youngsters, man. The 2004 team that Auburn had that went undefeated. I mean, because the Cam was kind of a divisive figure that some people hated. Obviously, we all liked him. But the 2004 Auburn team was a team that everybody liked, right? Those guys grinded. There were no bad guys. Jason Cornell, Ronnie, everybody liked them. I'm talking about nationwide.
Sure.
And they were a sympathetic figure. That recruiting class sucked.
Yes.
Notably. Like, I remember you guys writing about it, you and B-Matt, back in the day when I didn't pay attention to stuff like that because I was a dumbass. So that situation, the inertia did not help. Now, I think 2011, they had a really good class, but they also had Troop and Loop and Thigpen and all these awesome recruiters, which they kind of do now. I don't know. To me, it's not a guarantee. If they had a 10-win season, I feel like some people are assuming they'd have a great recruiting class, and it ain't always like that.
I'm looking at that class right now, the 2005 class, Jay, coming off that 2004 year, and you're right. You had Montez Billings, and, well, you had AC. You had Antonio Coleman in there, but he wasn't extremely highly ranked. Sinderic Marks, Andrew McCain, Gabe McKenzie. So some guys, Aaron Savage. But overall, that class ended up being ranked like 19th or 20th.
Yeah.
A lot to unpack. A lot going on this season. Man, there's going to be storylines after storylines.
For sure.
Well, Hader, we don't want to keep you anymore from your football.
Also had Tommy Trott in that signing class.
Oh, Tommy Trott.
And Gerard Powers.
Oh, that's a good one.
Gerard's
one of my favorite. Yeah.
Gerard. He's the man. We saw him, Jay Lee, a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, he was at the facility.
I knew you guys are old when you called me Gerard. I was like, that's right, buddy. All right, you guys going to continue on with the show?
Yeah, we got to get to some calls, big dog. We got Kevin from Wilmer waiting on you. We appreciate you joining us, though.
Well, I mean, I'm part of the team, so I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me on, guys. And shout out to the chat. You guys are awesome.
JG Tate, ladies and gentlemen.
Later, buddy.
Peace out. A-Town down, whatever those girls say.
Easy, Usher. Come on now.
Well, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Is it really? God,
Usher. Down, yeah.
Yeah. Peace up, A-Town down, baby.
Oh, get us to the phone line, Zach.
We have a record number of callers.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
We shouldn't have let JG go.
Yeah, we have 10 on the line right now.
Wow.
Nice.
All right, we'll knock them out.
I believe this is Kevin, but we have 3 251 numbers. 6558. You're live. I think yes.
That's Kevin.
Yellow. You know what? I think Kevin had some audio issues last week as well.
He did.
He must be up in Coleman.
He's from Montgomery, Alabama.
There he is.
How about you, big dog? Kevin, talk to us, buddy, so we'll know that you're okay.
How you doing, Jeffrey Lee?
I'm fantastic now, buddy. I was worried about you. I haven't talked to you in a couple of weeks. You cut out us last week. So I'm glad to be listening to you. What's a good season for you, Kevin? What do you want to see this Auburn team do, buddy?
I think we will get London.
Landon Duckworth, I don't think Auburn's in play with him anymore. They got the I'm sorry. What did he say?
He's cutting out real bad. After Duckworth, I kind of lost him.
I thought he said 11 wins.
Did he?
11-1, baby.
I think he said Landon Duckworth. But I'll go with I like 11 wins. I like
11-1 with a loss to Bama, going into that game 11-0, and then losing to Bama at home.
Jay, they don't put that.
Is that not the biggest Jabba you've ever heard of? You're still going to the playoffs, though, right? You're
No,
still going to the playoffs.
The biggest Jabba you'd ever heard of is for Auburn to beat Alabama and Georgia and lose to Vanderbilt. That would be Jabba.
And yeah, that'd be it. Kevin, we're going to try it again next week, dude. You might have to walk outside, man. Grab that phone and walk outside. We're going to have to get back with you. We need some positivity in our lives.
We might have some here. Carter Maldron. Live, man.
Gentlemen, how about you?
How about you, big
I'm
dog?
glad you, Carter.
No Bammer lover.
Man, I was sad to hear JG get off the line. I wanted to talk some recruiting. Oh, man. Well, it ain't looking too bright right now, but I think, like Alan said, I think we got some good ones coming down the pipeline. It's starting this week on Tuesday, and I really think that if we can make a few moves for Jaquez Wilkes for one, Jair for another, and maybe, just maybe, Braylon Womack for the other before the season starts. I really think that would set us up the best.
I agree.
But
huge.
What I did want to ask y'all is, who do you think on defense is going to be the biggest playmaker outside of Keldrick Falk and Keyron?
Playmaker on defense, fellas. Are you looking in the backfield? Are you looking you like Caleb Harris?
Yeah, I was thinking
Lee, like Jay
Crawford.
You just name mine.
I was thinking Jay Crawford too.
Well, no, I was going to say Kayan Lee. I think he's going to have a bounce forward year. I think Kayan realizes this is a money season for him. If he's focused, because Cole, I thought your film room was pretty telling on him and how he had positioned himself. He just didn't necessarily make plays when they were there to be made. If Kayan continues to progress in that area and can get his head turned around and make plays on the ball, I think he's potentially going to have a really big year this year. I honestly do. And it would be great to see for that young man, him and Keldrick Falk, to go out with some of the same attention that they had coming in.
Isn't it nice to be on the defense and going, man, there's so many options?
Yeah.
There's a lot of options. There are. Linebacker still is interesting, but, I think I put it on the board. I've heard some interesting things about Rob. I've heard that there's some confidence he ends up taking over that Mike job.
Who's this?
Robert Woodyard.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Cole, you mentioned him a couple
Big
times.
season for Rob.
Yeah.
We've talked about that. This needed to be the year for him. I hope that it is.
I'll tell you what, watching film again too, we all remember the plays that DeMarcus Riddick made when he was playing spy, when he was doing things of that nature. But, man, when he was playing over the slot and a receiver tried to block him, happened a lot in the Vanderbilt game, he destroyed that blocker and just threw him off and did some things that DJ Durkin would be pumping his fist over. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Where was that from my leaders? I got a freshman doing it. Are y'all watching this guy? That kind of stuff. I mean, Riddick's the guy. He's the playmaker.
Okay.
Good stuff, Carter. Appreciate you, man. And I agree, man. Adam Balagoon Ali is coming up. You get him. You get Jacquez Wilkes. Man, if you could get Wilkes and Zaire, that would be huge. And then finish off the summer with with what Allen would need for a top 10 class in Braylon Womack. You get those 4 guys, I think anything else is gravy. Yeah. I mean, spicy sausage gravy.
Yes, Braylon Womack is the piece, right? Like,
yes.
You have got to have that one to get to a top 10.
That one's still in play.
Sure, absolutely.
Sure.
Yes, sure. Yes, very much in play.
And one of the biggest reasons is NIL is not going to be a huge factor in his decision. And it'll be after August 1st.
Hey, well, anything
a lot of things working for Auburn there. Before we get to our next caller, man, good stuff, Carter. Appreciate you, man. Forgot to talk about the 5-star freaking realtor, talking about all these 5-stars running around here. Hey, if you're in Auburn, Opelika, Lee County, looking for to make a move, maybe upgrade, maybe move to the area, sell your house, buy a new one, look no further for the help you need. Miss Jessica Andrus with the Talents Group. Give her a call, 334-704-4442. A lot of 4s in that number, but don't be she's a freaking 5-star realtor. Look right there at Allen Head, they'll tell you. She's fantastic. Listen, July the 4th weekend, she's been working nonstop and doing it with a smile on her face. She's actually out showing houses right now. Worked on the 4th, worked on the 5th, working on the 6th. She does it all, man. No stopping this lady. She's fantastic. She's a 5-star realtor for a reason. Give her a call if you're in Auburn, Opelika, Lee County, 334-704-4442. Tell her we see you. All right, keep it going there, Zach.
Yeah, so we still have about 10 callers. So we're going to limit everybody to one question and one statement. 0506. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
This is old Hogbone.
Hey,
Hogbone.
Man.
Bibb County, Alabama.
Bibb County.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
What's on your mind tonight, big dog?
Let me say, AU Sports Live. Keep it simple. That's what I say.
Auburn
We'll
Sports.
write that down.
9 wins.
9 wins.
Okay.
Yeah. 9 wins are you just, you're just not using the talent right, I don't think. I mean, yeah, something's not happening.
Very achievable.
What was the other one?
9 wins. Does one of those 2 need to be Alabama and or Georgia, or one of those need to be Alabama or Georgia?
Oh, for sure. I be honest. I think we need to get Georgia this year. I think I kind of think we could get Georgia better than we could Alabama this year. But although Alabama, both of them are here. But I don't know. I just think it's time, man. Georgia's time. It's time for Georgia. It's just, we've come so close and yet so far. But
yeah,
it's just, I'd rather see us get Georgia than Alabama. But yeah, either one of them.
It's been since 2017 for Georgia, right?
The only reason why I don't feel good about Georgia is because they've blown you out a lot, and you're just now getting back to where you can play with them again. For some reason, you've been closer with Alabama in a lot of years here recently, and not been able to finish it off. I feel better about that one, Hogbone. I don't know why. That's why, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Georgia, they've had some little issues going on, and they got a young man over there that's going to be quarterbacking that, of course, we might, since we moved around and catching them early, we thought that was going to be to our advantage. I think instead of that amen corner we used to have, of course, but it hadn't really worked out for us that way since Kirby and even before Kirby. But I just think their offense is going to have a little trouble next year. And
it very well might.
I think we might have a little chance at it since we seem to fill our holes a little bit on defense, and that safety spot worried me, but I think we got that covered now. What do you think?
I think the pickup is huge from an upside standpoint, but I do have questions about how quickly he's going to be able to get up to speed and play powerful.
Talking about Jacoby Matthews.
Yeah. Talking about Jacoby Matthews. He's been out of football for the better part of a year. How quickly does he get back in football shape? That's what I don't know.
And I don't want to downplay the room. Besides Jacoby, you got Sylvester Smith, who's played a lot of football for you. You've got Anquan Fagans, who everybody's fired up about.
Caleb Harris.
Yeah, Caleb Harris is, he's kind of the mainstay now. And then is there anybody else? Kinsley Faustin could probably play a little bit back there. You got some options, man. So I don't want to downplay the room, but I do think it gets a big boost with Jacoby Matthews.
And if anybody's going to be able to be game ready, at least middle of September, first of all October, it's him. He's played 2 years in DJ Durkin's system. He knows the verbiage. He knows how. He knows the scheme.
Yeah. Tay Seymour. I forgot about Tay. He was starter at Georgia Tech.
Yeah, and let's don't forget about the two transfer cornerbacks, Strader and Pleasant.
Yeah.
Eric
Winters and Blake Woodby are mixed in there somewhere.
Absolutely.
Well, and the young man that's coming off injury. I mean,
Champ Anthony,
who's an absolute playmaker. I mean, your secondary, you have a lot of pieces, and I'll be interested to see how they mix and match to get the best 5 on the field, and then how they build out the next 5, right? Because it's not necessarily just about your 22. It's about your 44. So having that depth back behind them is extremely important, and that's where Georgia and Alabama have been better than Auburn over the last 5, 6, 7 years. It's not the 22, it's the 44 where they've absolutely killed you.
It's true. And Kinsley Faustin. He's the forgotten man, but that guy makes plays.
Good stuff, Hogbone. Appreciate you calling in, big dog.
9332. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
That guy makes plays. Hello.
Oh, this is Eric Mack from Little River. What's going on, buddy?
It is Eric Mack from Little River. How y'all doing this evening?
Hell yeah, Eric Mack. What's up, big dog?
Man, great show. Intriguing. Seems like got a record caller. Got a lot of things going on this evening.
That's right.
Hold on a minute. Let me go in from these chickens.
Sure, man.
Yeah,
we're on Eric Mack time, big dog.
Man, I've got some things I need to get off my chest.
Do it. That's what we're here for.
I know we've been losing recruits, and it hurts. It hurts to look at it, but there's a reason for it, and I just want the Auburn faithful to kind of just hang in there and be patient to maybe look at the whole big picture of maybe what's going on. I think Hugh is trying to retain a awesome wide receiver room, and I think he's trying to retain, I think we've got a good offensive line thing going on, if I'm not mistaken.
At least for another year.
I think he's making moves to try to retain some good, awesome things that he sees going on in front of him, and I hope that he does that. Like I want to. He likes what he sees. He likes the wide receiver room a lot, and obviously they're going to throw the bag to try to keep them. And I would like to see, the collective throw the bag to try to get some high school recruits to try to make this class look better.
Yeah. We're all hoping the same thing, big dog.
And if that's true, it puts all the more pressure on you to win right now.
I know, and dude, and you know he's battling some health things right now, and we've all been praying for that, and I hope that he recovers, you know, as quick as he can from whatever's going to become of that. And but dude, we need to see some proof on the field this year, guys. We got to
Number one, Eric. I completely agree, dude.
We got to see a product on the field. I mean, we've done some investment. This is the third year here. We need to see something this year, and I'm pretty sure everybody agrees with that.
Sure,
absolutely. I don't think we've said it before. You win 9 games, you're not going to have to worry about recruiting.
I think it picks up a lot.
Absolutely.
I think it takes care of a lot.
Everything's better when you're winning. Everything.
Sure is.
Funny how that works, man. Eric, good stuff, big dog. Appreciate you calling in.
Hey, man, I appreciate y'all. Thank you for everything that y'all do. Great show. And I'm there for noon on live as well.
Whatever you just said, I completely agree.
All right. Go get them chickens now.
Go get them chickens. Oh, keep us going, Zach.
5013. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
What's up, fellas? This is Don.
Oh,
hey,
Don.
He comes through so clear.
He does. Don does a
little shot in the arm.
Yeah,
Shot in the arm.
Guys,
He's a
I'm sorry,
professional.
man. I've been working on Sunday nights and hadn't been able to call in about goodness gracious how long. But I'm glad to finally get to talk to you guys. And Cole, you got me yesterday, buddy. I made a comment and gave you credit on the article, and it was actually Brian Matthews. You were about to get me, weren't you?
It was. Now we collabed on it, Don. So I'll give you a pass. I'll give you a pass.
We'll allow it.
Well, Alan, buddy, I've been waiting to ask you this all day. What is this August 1st deal? What kind of rule are we looking at on that?
So there's no real rule, but to the best of my understanding, and what John Cohen talked about at nauseum the other night and in several interviews that he did with, I would guess, probably a scrum of reporters outside of an Auburn, what do they call it? What is their event? Their Auburn ambush event right now outside of Lake Martin. But essentially what he talked about is that legitimate offers can be made in writing come August 1st. And where Auburn is hedging their bets or being a little bit cautious is they feel as though that some of the offers that are being issued out right now, whether they are promising NIL to members, they're helping them find NIL deals, whatever verbiage that they're including right now in a verbal way, Auburn feels as though that won't hold up when they get their written offer. And if they don't see that in a written contract, that gives Auburn's coaches now some legitimacy in what they have been saying. Mm-hmm. And you can trust us because we've been honest with you from jump about how we've been able to come across with you with what we can truly offer. Now, again, that's a gamble, right? You are gambling that everybody else is wrong that you are talking about and that you're right. So it'll be interesting, Don. And I don't know. I'm probably a little bit preparing for it to be more of what we've seen to this point because I do think it's more than just the money for Auburn right now. I do think that there has to be some proof on the field. I do think there are other things that are going on. It's like nefarious or anything, but just that it's prohibiting Auburn from necessarily being where they need to be in the recruiting rankings. And I think everything has to get aligned for that to take place. I think it's more than just the contract.
Oh, okay. Well, perfect. I appreciate that. But do you guys think it also has something to do with the roster we have right now? Jay Lee, I know when last time you talked to my buddies at Jocks, you mentioned this, that we got so big of a roster that we're not losing that many players. And in that article I was talking about, I believe they said we got 45 brand new players, 26 high school signees, and then 19 transfers. Do y'all think that has an effect on our recruiting?
Some. And I don't want to speak for Jay Lee, but hell, Georgia and Alabama have stacked rosters too, man. You think
that's my pullback on that.
Yeah.
it was, it's going back to what Eric was saying. Eric Mack earlier was talking about, you're putting all this money into retention. Well, so is all, and I agree. I totally agree. I listen, just from talking to a lot of people behind the scenes, that is the number one priority, is doing what was it Eric or maybe it was Hogbone. I mean, you want to keep that wide receiver room.
Yeah.
All right. So absolutely, I think that's number one. But so does Alabama. They don't want to lose Ryan Williams.
The one thing I would say is Auburn's probably, without being good, had to overpay for a lot of guys. Whereas
that is true.
Alabama and Georgia probably don't. This is where Eric Mack said this too. Winning helps everything.
Yes.
It helps your deals, I bet. If I had to guess.
I can tell you right now, from Preston Carey, 4-star defensive tackle, committed to Georgia over Florida.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he did so at about a third. He accepted a third of what Florida was offering to go to Georgia.
Yeah.
Because
why? Long-term play, development.
Yes.
Playing at Georgia.
That the NFL contract is going to be significantly greater than what you can earn in NIL, specifically in this rev share era, if this soft cap is going to have any effect on your earning potential. If it's going to limit it in any way, that NFL contract will be significantly more.
Yeah, he took a lot less to go to Georgia, and that's exactly what Cole was talking about. You win some, maybe that price comes down.
That's the word, and it makes a lot of sense when you look at the situation. And Auburn was starting to get some buzz, Florida, because when everybody finds out what's going on, they go, well, he's not going to take that deal probably, but here we are.
Here we are.
Good stuff, Don. Appreciate you calling in, buddy.
We got Anthony here. Anthony, you're live, man.
Fellas.
How about you, Anthony?
What up, dude?
How was that fat bottom Betty, big dog?
Hey, I'm gonna make it fast since we got a lot of callers. First name should be AU Voice of the Fans call-in show.
Okay.
Second, your question of the night. A good season is give me a road win in September and everything got to Georgia. And because if you do it that way, you'll be on a winning streak. Everybody be happy. You'll beat Alabama plus U3 to be on like a 5-game winning streak. So there'll be great momentum heading to next year.
Win the
Question of the
last
night
6.
is, opening game, what would be a good point total that would get y'all guys fired up in the stat line for testing on? That's all I got, man. Y'all have a good night.
Appreciate you, Anthony. Point total against Baylor. Are we talking 35 plus?
Yes.
I think so.
35 plus in a visiting stadium, yes. For me to feel, well, I guess it depends on how the game gets played, right?
Sure.
Because of the clock rules, if Baylor wants to run the football, bleed it a little bit, maybe you don't get that high, but it's got to be 28 plus because Auburn offense put up how many did they put up 28 legitimate points without the defense helping them out?
Yeah. I was going to go 28 because I want to give the defense a little credit.
You think 28 wins that game?
I think it can. I think 28 can because I want to give, like I said, defense a little credit there. I think they're going to be – does it feel like the defense might pick up a little better in the first game as opposed to the offense where they might be having some issues? I feel like the defense is going to be a little more sound to start the season. Well,
there's more continuity on that side of the ball, right?
Second year, sure.
And really, you get the same play caller on both sides.
You do, but you think about the quarterback position.
That's the
that's a new piece. Xavier Chaplin, as much as I like him, as talented as I think he is, he didn't go through spring practice. So your offensive line is still going to be gelling. Wide receiver core, Eric Singleton. How does he mesh with Cam Coleman and that plethora of wide receivers that you've got out there? Are they forcing things to him? There's just a lot to it for me on the offensive side.
A lot of new faces. Hell, new running back, new tight end, new quarterback, new wide receiver, new left tackle, new right tackle, possibly.
Yeah. and I don't want to steal Jay if what Jay had to say, but I have confidence in DJ Durkin. I watched him do it time and again last year, right?
Yeah.
Have his unit prepared to play. And on offense, at times, Auburn looked great. Look at that Texas A&M game. They were explosive. They were fun. The playbook was open. That's how you would think Auburn offense should be played, specifically under Hugh Freeze. And then there were times like the Missouri game where it just looked difficult. The Vanderbilt game. I mean, it just scoring 28 points. If you score 28 points against Vanderbilt, you walk away. And
should 28-10.
How many times would you have said that in your lifetime? Do you think, Jeffrey, you thought that going into last season? Hell, man, if we could only score 28 against Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Shit, I'm usually thinking we're going to blow Vanderbilt out by 20 at half.
Yeah. Getting the young guys in.
Yes.
Getting them some SEC experience.
Yes. It has not been the case as of late.
Good stuff, Anthony. Always good stuff.
28 or better.
I like it.
9936. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Ricky from Birmingham.
Oh, Ricky from Birmingham.
Ricky.
How about you tonight, Ricky?
You doing good.
Okay.
Earlier this week I saw the new uniforms. I just hoping that I see some alternate uniforms to go with those new jerseys.
Yeah, alternate uniforms. Auburn started Nike this past week. I guess it was last Monday, was it? July the 1st. When the hell, what is today? 6th.
Yes.
So that means, I think
July
July
1st.
1st was Monday. Nike is the new apparel provider for Auburn University and has nothing in store for you to buy. If only they had like a year to prepare.
How did that happen?
July 24th, I think, is what July 25th, something.
You think if Auburn was winning, people wouldn't care about that?
Yeah, I think if Auburn was winning, they wouldn't care about a lot of things.
They wouldn't care anything about it. They go, oh, yeah.
They wouldn't care about Hugh Freeze's golf game. They wouldn't care about recruiting rankings, like whatever.
I think if we were winning, they'd be more mad because they'd be more willing to buy merch.
Sure.
They actually probably be more pissed.
Yeah, don't ever put anything past the Auburn fan.
I was going to say, well,
Complain
you're probably
about.
right. You're probably right.
I like the way it look. They ain't changed no, kept the tradition. So I can't wait to get my hands on them.
Good. I bet they look sharp.
All the freshmen that's coming in, name their development trait. Is it normal, impact, star, or elite? That's my one question.
Okay, good stuff. Just in general.
Yeah, so Ricky's using the college the video game. That's the development traits of the players. Yeah, normal, impact, star, elite. I mean, if you want to do it by that.
We'll just say who are some of the guys coming in. Even we'll count transfers. Elite. Who are you putting in that elite group?
Oh, yes, for sure. Xavier Chaplin, for sure.
Chaplin. You hope Jackson Arnold.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
You gonna go with Strader?
No, not. I needed to hear a little more from him in the spring.
Okay.
Maybe that changes.
How in the hell did he get on the list? Didn't he make some list?
No, that would be Rayshon Pleasant.
That's what I'm talking about then. Yeah. Would you put Pleasant up there?
He was an All-American kick returner, is what he is.
Is that what it was?
As a kick returner, yes, I put him there.
Shit, Auburn could use some of that now.
He had 3 touchdowns last year, kick returns.
I mean, think about how that would have changed a couple games contingent on the one you had it in.
Fagan's elite?
Yes. And I think he potentially starts this year. Even with Jacoby Matthews being in the fold, I still think he is probably your best playmaker in the back end, with the exception of Caleb Harris.
Deuce Knight.
I'm going to go star right now, not elite. I need to see him play. I need to hear more than practice reports. But
are we talking potential here, right? Development, right?
Yeah, development, like future ceiling.
Yes.
I think Jared Smith, Jordan
Mhm.
Crawford, Malik
Mhm.
Autry, they all fall in the star category, I think.
How about Elijah Melendez?
Star.
I'm going to put Jared Smith in the elite territory. I think he has.
He's in that territory. Yeah.
I think he's in that territory. Deuce, I want to put in elite, but I just, again, without watching him play in something more than a meaningless 8A practice, like I need to see him compete to really know where he's at from a quarterback standpoint.
I'm going to tell you who else is going to be putting in the elite. John freaking Michael Montgomery McGuire. John freaking Michael Montgomery McGuire. Now I'm telling you,
he's good. Yeah.
Look, if somebody doesn't get this guy a handle on Twitter that says John Michael Montgomery McGuire, you're doing it wrong. Okay, this is an NIL deal waiting to happen.
I'm trying to throw out some bigger names. Chris Murray.
No.
Okay.
Impact. Maybe.
Darrell.
I'm going to put in the star category. I think he has an opportunity to be the starter before the season's over with.
Yeah, that's star. I think he's pretty good.
Starter for sure.
What about, let me give you two. How about Bryce Diaz, Sam Turner? Where you put
I'm going to go star on both. I am high on both those kids.
I am too. Yeah.
Okay. Good stuff, Ricky. Appreciate you calling in, big dog.
I mean, I think they killed this last class. I honestly do.
I do too.
0978. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Hey guys, it's Tim from El Dorado Hills. How are you?
Tim from is it Colorado?
California. Right?
California.
That's right.
Hell yeah, Tim.
What's up, boys?
How about you?
Hey, just real quick, loving the marriage of On3 and Rivals.
Good.
One of the best things I heard this week when they were going through all the explanation of NIL and what's holding us back on recruiting and everything, J.G. Tate was sitting on with Hogue and kind of gave some feedback that he had a good friend he went to college with in general counsel that was with the university. It's not ours. And said, hey, I'm hearing the same thing at our university, but I advise them to go a different way than what they're doing. That says a lot to me, that the landscape of what Hugh Freeze is describing, what our AD is describing, is probably a little bit more accurate than what is being portrayed by some other universities. So if we trust that, I think that we're going to see a lot starting August 1st when you have to put pen to paper on some of these deals. I mean, look at what Alabama's got put together. How are they going to pay the roster they have and sign 5 5-stars, 10 4-stars? That doesn't make sense. You look at the rooms that we have. Who's got a better receiver room than we have in the SEC? Who's got a better defensive back room than we have in the SEC? It's dadgum almost to the point of who's got a better defensive line room than we have in the SEC. I mean, seriously, when you think about it, we're hoping we can overcome the juggernauts of Alabama and Georgia this year with some of the players they have. Do they have a better player than Keldrick Falk on their roster?
Mm-hmm.
Who do you like better, KJ Bolden or Caleb Harris?
Well, they're splitting hairs. Probably KJ, but Caleb he was severely underrated come out of high school. I mean, comically underrated.
But to the point of you're looking at our Caleb Harris and splitting hairs with KJ Bolden?
With what they produced last year, yes. Now maybe KJ comes out and he's significantly better. But what you saw on the field last year, Caleb Harris was every bit the playmaker.
I say all that to say I believe that we're kind of stuck in the past a little bit, but that's the job away, right? We're a little stuck in the past of what's happened, but football now in college football is different than it's ever been before. This year is different than any year we've ever experienced. So if you look at our schedule honestly, Is there a game on our schedule that we cannot win?
No.
Not on paper.
No, they can win every game on the schedule. I wouldn't have said that a year ago.
So that's how much Jackson Arnold. That's how much you believe in Jackson
Arnold.
Arnold. Me too, Cole. I believe there's the potential there with Jackson Arnold to be the leader of a team that could, on paper, win every game on the schedule.
You were in every game with Peyton Thorne.
True.
Agreed. And if you take the quarterback position as a hinge point there, do you like him better than Ty Simpson? Do you like him better than Gunnar Stockton?
You know more about him. But
Yeah, that's all right.
I don't. That's tough. That's
why I keep saying on paper, because that's about all we have right now.
Yeah.
Right. You know more about Jackson Arnold than you do the other two. That's what you have right now. Do you like them more? Again, until we see both those guys compete, because I'm not going to be one of these guys that comes on here and just says Ty Simpson's garbage because he hadn't started at this point.
Right.
Like I just don't believe that, man.
No, he's a good quarterback.
And I'm not saying he's garbage. I'm just saying that he's not proven anything that Jackson Arnold hasn't proven.
Fair.
I think the point you
That's
make,
fair.
Alan, that we know about Jackson, and there are some things that don't make me feel wonderful about what I watched. But then, you know, his situation, you have to play all that in. But that even makes it more of a question mark, and you're like, dang it.
Yeah, you just don't know how to weight it, right?
Yeah.
Because we can lay out the case of all the things that went wrong for Jackson Arnold at Oklahoma, and a lot of them were not his issue, right? But the one that gives me hesitation is anytime a quarterback is hesitant about the anticipatory part of the game and cutting it loose, that gives me pause. And the ball got stuck in his hand. I think I've said this 8,000 times now. It got stuck in his hand way too much last year, where he just couldn't get it out.
And what about Auburn's operation on offense makes you feel better?
Don't do it, Cole. Don't do it.
Then weapons. He's got weapons where he did not have as much.
You know what makes me feel better is knowing that if we look back to 2 years ago when we had Auburn and Georgia at home,
right?
Did they have better teams that year than they have this year?
Well put, Tim. Well put.
That's something that
do we have a better team than they had 2 years ago, than Auburn had 2 years ago?
Absolutely. No question.
I give Justin Elkins some credit on that, man.
Yeah, we're hoping for 8-4. I just think this could be a special year, guys. You talk about Jabba.
Yeah.
This would be the most Jabba thing ever for us to see.
That's funny, Tim.
11-1, 12-0 kind of season.
Because I actually said, man, nothing on the spectrum is Auburn voided from. Like nothing. I even said, I can't remember what show it was last week, but I was like, this is, Auburn's capable of having that magical season. And on paper, you at least have the talent, the 44, right?
Yeah.
To win every game. Now, common sense tells you that you're not going to, especially after some of the ways that Auburn lost last year. But I think that's why we've raised the floor to 8, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Justin said on our show, I want to give him credit. You too, Tim. It's a good point. So you almost beat Alabama and Georgia in year 1 with Freeze, and now we're in year 3, and you're going, well, those probably aren't wins. So we're going backwards on that. Right?
No, I think Tim's right. I think Justin's right. At some point, it has to be expectation that you're going to beat one of those two teams.
Yeah.
Like for this coaching regime to have any legitimacy to it, any longevity to it, beating one of your rivals every year has to become an expectation year in and year out. And on some of those years, like Jeffrey said, you got to get both. That's just, or maybe it was Jay that said, I don't want to give the wrong person credit here. Maybe you both said it, but I do believe that you have to get one this year. And it's probably why I'm at it at 8. I don't want to, 9 just feels weird to say, right? Because you haven't done it. It feels weird to say that 9 should be the expectation. But the way Auburn's invested and the more I talk about it with you guys, man, maybe this is the fan part of me and not the rational part of me having this conversation or this internal dialogue, right? You don't want to believe things that aren't necessarily true, but hell, man, I start thinking about 9. Maybe it should be the expectation because you should beat there's 7 teams on that schedule you absolutely should beat.
Yep.
And then there are multiple toss-ups layered in after that. Tell me you can't win 2 of them.
We're going to break it down the season game by game the closer we get to the season, but and that's going to be interesting because I think Tim breaks. I think that's why I have such, I don't say high expectations, but almost expectations. Like I expect Auburn to win at least 8 games, and if they don't, it's a catastrophe. I mean, it is a huge failure. And JG Tate said the same thing. You're looking at 7-5, dude. We're probably looking at a new coach.
I mean,
7-5.
Because, here's the thing. Does Hugh Freeze get out of the season if you start this, if you lose to Baylor, and then you lose to
that's the interesting
Oklahoma and A&M and Georgia?
Right, all in a row, right?
You're 1-4.
You're 1-4.
2-4, I think. Maybe Georgia's the last game of the first half of the season. Now you're 2-4 with
See?
2 cupcake wins and nothing of substance.
Nothing of substance. Your record now, you're 11-14 going into the season. That's now 13 and 18?
Oh, yeah. If you're going 7-5, dude, you're having a rough first half because that second half, I'm serious, anything less than 4 wins in the second half of that season, where you've got Kentucky and Vanderbilt and Missouri and Bama, and then I think a couple
Arkansas,
and then Mercer or South Alabama or somebody.
Mercer.
And
if
again,
you can't get 4 wins out of that, you
sure.
I don't know. That second half, man, I think it was Anthony who said, make a run, finish off that season on a winning streak.
Yeah, I think Anthony said the way he was looking at it was win every game after Georgia and get one away game in September, meaning one of Oklahoma A&M.
And you're looking at 9-3.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are. Now to the 7-5 one. I think that changes some if Hugh's playing deuce at that point and you're 7-5 and one of those wins is over Alabama to end the year. Because then again, that's where Florida picked up, right? DJ Lagway comes in, your freshman's playing, you beat LSU and Ole Miss down the stretch. Both at that point were ranked inside the top 25. And I think if you were Ole Miss, you were ranked inside the top 10.
Now you're selling hope again.
While Lane Kiffin's looking like wedding crashers on the sideline.
The interesting thing about Florida last year, they got scorched by Miami early in the season, 41-17.
Yeah.
Okay. Not super close against A&M, 30-20. And I think it was, if memory serves me right, that game was never super close.
No, A&M took that. It took the lead on that and it just kind of choked them out.
Then they get waxed by Texas. Texas is good, but is Texas any better than Bama or Georgia? My point is, Auburn was a lot closer in every game. Florida was a little all over the map.
I agree. I think Auburn's roster is in a better position than Florida's was last year. And that's not me trying to take a shot at Florida. I just felt that they had some holes in the roster, and they did a good job coaching them. Give Ron Roberts credit on the defensive side of the ball. I thought he figured some things out down the stretch. And the offense looked significantly different with DJ Lagway and taking snaps than it did the prior quarterback.
It did.
Good stuff, Tim. Appreciate you calling all the way from Cali. Let's go down to the Panhandle for our last caller of the night.
5202. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Oh, what's happening, fellas, down here in Meanville? Oh, I'm sorry, Niceville, Florida.
Darren from Meanville.
Well, Darren knows how to time it up to be last, don't he?
Yeah, he does.
He's our closer.
Okay, so 7-5 or 8-4, and he beats Georgia and Alabama in that. He's no good.
Hold on, say that again.
Okay. Okay.
7-5, 8-4, and he beats both of them.
8-4, and 2 of those wins is Georgia and Alabama, and he's fired.
No, you beat Georgia and Alabama, and you finished with 7 wins. That means you've lost to some. It means you've lost to Kentucky, Arkansas, Missouri, A&M, Oklahoma.
No, he has a point.
Wait.
Darren has a point.
Keep going. What's the point?
Oklahoma's going to have a damn defense from hell.
Yes, they are.
You got Baylor at Baylor to start the year. I mean, think about some of these games. I mean, Kentucky played us with Cam Newton to the 18th. We're at Arkansas. That hasn't been a gimme every time. I was at the last one, beat the shit out of them. But, I mean, what if it is 7-5 or 8-4 and we beat Georgia and Alabama as 2 of our wins?
Damn,
it leaves you what it is, Darren. It leaves you scratching your head. It opens the door for way more questions than answers. But everybody goes, those wins were nice.
Yeah,
I like
Darren,
that.
Darren, tell me who the losses are if you're 7-5 with victories over Alabama and Georgia.
Well,
now, Oklahoma and A&M.
Yeah, it's Oklahoma at A&M's 2 already, and then you look at Arkansas. The ants are SEC ats are tough.
Yeah,
the ants are tough. And if I look at Alabama's schedule this year, I look at the ats, and I don't think they go undefeated. I think the ats are going to get them. And I think that at Auburn is a loss for Alabama this year. I'm calling it right now. That at Auburn, because this is a better team. 4 overtimes and grave diggers and all. This is a better team, top bottom than what we've had. New Mexico State, we had 1 4-star, y'all, on the whole freaking team that year. 1. They had a better roster, top to bottom, talent-wise, than Auburn did coming into that game. Diego Pavia is real. And so y'all are just giving Vanderbilt, we'll beat Vanderbilt. Y'all, Hugh has never beaten Diego. And his offensive coordinator, ex-head coach, Jerry Kill, is right there. He's still there. And we're going to Nashville. But we're writing off as a win.
I'll write Vanderbilt off as a win every year.
That's the thing, Darren.
It
has to be.
Yeah.
I know about Diego Pavia, and I agree with you. There's a hold up there for Freeze, but it don't matter. You got to be Vandy.
Yeah, because in any world, I'm going to be honest with you, Darren, if you're 7-5 and you do have victories against Alabama and Georgia, but you have a loss against Vanderbilt, I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to fire Hugh Freeze. I'm not trying to put Hugh Freeze on a hot seat. I'm perfect. I really like what he's done with the roster. But I think we can talk about it now in July. And then the emotion of what's going to happen after a loss to Vanderbilt when it happens. Now, again, you're talking about another swing. You're talking about another swing of the emotion of beating Alabama after that happens. And then what's the euphoria like through the fan base? So I hear you. I hear you.
Well, I'm telling you what happens is Auburn hires Clark Lee at that point.
Woo!
Let's see if Pavia can have one more year.
Hell yeah.
I mean, unless you turn DJ Durkin and that big paycheck for defensive coordinator into the head coach, I mean, who else do you go get to beat Auburn? Because Auburn is, Auburn's always hired the up and comer or regurgitate. Are we hiring Rhett Lashley again? I mean, really, y'all were talking about it earlier. I think Cole was talking about it earlier about, Hugh's got the board in his hand and he's calling the play. Y'all, we went through this with Gus. Is it Rhett Lashley? Is it Chip? Who the hell's calling the plays for dumb plays that we saw? Who's throwing the ball with Peyton Thorne in Oklahoma with 11-point lead last year? Who's making that bonehead call? I'm sitting in the stands, man. I paid good money, burning my ass up. Somebody give me an answer because I don't have an answer for it. I'm blaming
hot right now thinking about it. Darren, look at him.
Yeah, that was not good. I know what he's doing.
And somebody give me who between Hugh Freeze and Lane Kiffin, other than the connection that they have with Nick Saban, what else do they have? Hugh Freeze beat Nick Saban back-to-back years. One was a doink off a helmet. But what does he have? What trophies do Lane Kiffin or any of them, what do they really have to say they are successful head football coaches? Other than recruiting. Hey, got no – of course, recruiting's right now with Auburn. And there's my question. I made that statement. Let me ask this question to everybody. So if we're right, we look like gold. I get it. But there's 3 schools you mentioned that are doing this right now. Only 3. How many schools in the SEC? Right? 16, right? 14, yep. 16? I get confused.
16.
Do you think the NCAA is going to put a ban on all the other schools except the 3 for not doing it right?
All right. So let me just segue in real quick, because it is not the NCAA, and I've heard this on multiple different podcasts and platforms. It is a completely different body that oversees this. It's this College Sports Commission that is now overseeing this. It is completely separate from the NCAA. This is somebody that has been brought on board by college presidents and commissioners, and it's solely separate from the NCAA investigative side of things. So let's talk about the College Sports Commission and how they're going to handle that. I don't know, man. I'm going to be honest with you. Are they going to come down and hammer people? I don't know. This is completely new territory. I tend to believe what you're saying, Darren, that they're not going to necessarily touch the brands, but maybe. And what if they do? What does that do other than maybe start a lawsuit? Who knows?
But if you're only 3 of 14, why not be with the 14 and you all go in together, rowing the boat the same direction? Partner, you're in military. I've been military. You can't win like that. You can't win with half the platoon going one way and half the platoon going the other way.
That's true. And to quote football terminology that Cole's used, we're not wrong. We're right if we're all wrong together, right? Like you see that sometimes on certain plays.
I'm sorry.
And let me say, quoting Cole, I want to see some progress in our fundamentals. I don't want us doing dumb mistakes anymore. Giving games away. Teams that we should beat, let's beat them. And let's beat their ass, okay? And the games that we're, marginal, we win some of them because we're doing the fundamentals correctly. And I think those will be the things that will make a difference. Jackson Arnold's the wild card. Everybody knows that. And he knows it. How does he handle that pressure? He's been in Oklahoma, but right now people are, they're ranking John Mateer like number 3, number 5 in the SEC. He's never played a single damn SEC game, but Jackson Arnold's only ahead of Zach Calzada at Kentucky. Really? He's that bad. He beat Kentucky. He beat Alabama on his own, but he's 14 of 15 or 13 of 14. Guys, y'all think he's that low?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not ready to say where he is in the SEC yet, Darren. I don't think he's that low, but I'm not ready to even say it.
I'm not ready to say he's that low, and I'm not ready to say guys like Ty Simpson are that high. I don't know enough about a lot of the quarterbacks in the SEC to give you an honest assessment, Darren, about where these guys are. And I think we're in talk season, right, where a lot of people are putting things out that won't hold weight as you get towards the end of the year. It happens every season. So I don't put much stock into it until we get about 4 games in and we can get a better feel for what are some of these quarterbacks that are a little bit on the unproven side. How good are they really?
Well, that's not just us, Alan. That's everybody's in the same boat as we are, unless you're on a staff somewhere.
Exactly. And I was just going to come over to top of Alan and say that. It's the media. Right, we tune in and we listen, and we see all these things, and on X it's released, and this, that, and the other, and that's the stuff, right? That people want. Auburn's so bad right now in recruiting, but y'all, it's a long way. August 1st is put it in writing, and we'll see what happens there. But like I told a buddy of mine in Alabama today, we'll take the leftovers, I guess, but we'll still give your ass a hard time. Promise you. We'll still give you all you want in Jordan Hare. And I believe that they're looking at 5 stars for next year. Brother, you got to play this year, and you still got to sign them. I think there's a lot of stuff still got to happen. And Cole, you're exactly right. And Alan, you are too, by the way. I believe there's a lot still got to happen. So, guys, great. Thank you, Zach, for allowing the podcast to go this long tonight and taking everybody. I think it's great for the whole format. I'm still an on-3 guy. I get it. Rivals is coming in, blah, blah, blah. But I work for a major corporation, been through a lot of takeovers and mergers and this, that, and the other. And really enjoy you three guys, and you're very knowledgeable and enjoy the time. Thank y'all.
Good stuff, Darren. Appreciate you, big dog.
Yeah, for sure.
Fantastic show tonight. Did not see that coming.
No.
I feel like JG Tate set the freaking tone, son.
I agree.
He brings energy.
He set the tone. I love getting a different perspective too. And listen, if you don't see, JG's got several, I don't know, shows. The Rundown's fantastic. I went and joined it last week.
Yes, you did.
Always good to get a different perspective. Very knowledgeable. Been there. I like that he's not afraid to say it, man. You know, there's some things that we might be a little hesitant to say.
No, Jay's very open with his opinion as far as Hugh Freeze is concerned and what the expectation of this team should be. And I think you have to appreciate that for him being willing to say, no, at some point, Auburn's got to be Auburn, right?
Yeah, right. That's exactly right. Absolutely. And if it's not, then you've got to find somebody who can get you back to being Auburn.
Yeah,
no doubt about it.
I've done something the last 2 years that I don't think I can do that anymore. I've turned a blind eye to bad football, and I'm not going to do that anymore. Just not.
Yeah, I got to that point too. The Oklahoma game was it for me.
I wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt. You know, their whole thing was getting
after that
right.
Listen, when I'm sitting there watching a game and even I know what not to do, and when I know all you have to do to win a football game, and you can't even do that, I got my doubts. So. All right, folks, that's going to do it. We're going to be back later this week, maybe Thursday morning. We'll talk about that for the recruiting show, and then obviously we'll be back next week. We might be under the same name. We might not. We don't know. Who cares? I don't know. But we appreciate everybody listening. Had some fantastic. Kevin got us started. You know, he wouldn't crank up all the way. Carburetor needs cleaning, but at least he was here for us. Kevin Carter, Bammer Lover Carter, Hogbone, Eric Matt. We had some really legends calling in tonight. Don, Anthony from Montgomery, Ricky from Birmingham, Tim from California, and Darren the closer finishing us off. All right, we're going to be back next week again. Look for us. Don't forget about Jessica Andrus. If you're looking for real estate help in Auburn, Opelika, Lee County, give her a call, 334-704-4442. Tell her we sent you. We'd appreciate it. All right, that's going to do it, folks. We appreciate everybody listening. We appreciate everybody watching. For Cole, for Alan Head, for Zach in the back, who stayed in the back. I'm Jeffrey Lee, man. Y'all stay at that left lane. See you.